The arrival, the night sky above Earth was quiet, but then something strange appeared. At first, people thought it was a star, shining brighter than usual. But as minutes passed, the light grew larger, wider, and sharper. It was not a star, not a comet, not anything nature had created. It was a ship. The ship was massive, larger than any human machine ever built. It moved slowly across the sky, glowing with silver light. Cities went dark as people stepped outside, pointing up in fear and wonder. Children screamed, adults whispered, governments panicked. Everyone knew one truth: Earth was no longer alone. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Military forces around the world went on high alert. Some believed an invasion was coming. Some thought it was the end of humanity. But when the ship stopped above Earth, it did not attack. A single pod left the giant ship. It moved gracefully through the air, almost like it was alive. It landed in the center of Geneva, where the United Nations building stood. Soldiers surrounded it, weapons ready, but the pod opened without resistance. From inside stepped a figure. She was tall, her skin shining with a glow that seemed not of this world. Her face was perfect, so beautiful that no human could look away. Her hair shimmered like silver threads in sunlight. Her eyes glowed with calm light. Deep and endless, she was not human, but she looked almost human. She was the Diplomat. Crowds fell silent, even soldiers lowered their weapons, unsure of what they were facing. The woman raised her hand, not in threat but in greeting. Her voice carried across the square, soft yet powerful. "I come in peace," she said. "I come to speak with one among you." The world leaders leaned forward, watching every move on their screens. Everyone expected her to ask for Earth's president, or the most powerful generals, but her words surprised all. "I come to speak with Dr. Marcus Halley," she said. Only him, only one human, in a secret chamber inside the United Nations. Whispers filled the air. "Why him?" One leader asked, "Who is this man?" Another shouted, "Dr. Marcus Halley was not a president, not a soldier, not a ruler. He was a scientist, known only for his work in genetics and biology. He lived a quiet life, teaching at a university. He had no power, no army, no weapons. So why would an alien diplomat cross the stars for him?" News spread like fire, on television, online, on radios. Everyone heard the same story. The alien woman, named Liara, had arrived, and she was here for only one human. People demanded answers, but no answers came. Marcus himself was sitting in his small home when soldiers arrived. They knocked hard on his door, telling him to come immediately. Confused, Marcus asked why. The soldier's reply was simple: "She asked for you." His heart raced. Fear and confusion mixing together. Why would an alien, so beautiful and powerful, choose him? When Marcus entered the United Nations Hall, the air froze. Cameras turned, lights flashed, world leaders stared. At the far end of the room stood Liara, her glowing eyes locked onto him instantly. She did not look at anyone else, only at Marcus. She smiled softly, and the whole room seemed to hold its breath. "Dr. Marcus Halley," she said in a voice like music, "I have traveled across the stars to see you." The hall filled with gasps. Marcus stood still, unable to speak. He felt as if the weight of the universe had just landed on his shoulders. The leaders shouted questions at her, demanding explanations, but Liara ignored them all. Her focus remained on Marcus, her smile never fading. The silence between them was heavier than any weapon. Something was beginning, something no one understood, and deep inside, Marcus knew his life and maybe all of humanity would never be the same again. The seduction game. The world was watching, every camera, every microphone. Every eye was locked on the strange meeting. The alien woman, Liara, stood calm in the United Nations chamber, her beauty almost painful to look at. The leaders shouted questions, demanded answers, but she did not care. Her attention was fixed only on Marcus Halley, the quiet scientist. "Walk with me," she said, her voice soft but filled with command. The guards stepped forward, confused, but Liara raised her hand, and they froze, something in her voice, something in her eyes. made even soldiers hesitate. Marcus hesitated too, but his feet moved on their own, as if drawn to her. Every camera caught the moment, the scientist walking beside the alien beauty, leaving the leaders behind, outside the chamber. The two were taken to a private room. The walls were sealed, the cameras turned off, but microphones still listened. Liara smiled, as if she knew she was being watched. Then she leaned close to Marcus and whispered words in a language no one else could understand. To everyone listening, it was silence, but Marcus heard her clearly. "I was sent to you," she said. "Do you know why?" Marcus shook his head, his throat dry, his hands shaking. Liara tilted her head, studying him like a puzzle, her eyes glowing faintly. "They fear you," she whispered. "And they desire you." Marcus tried to speak, but she stepped closer. Her presence was overwhelming, her beauty, her scent, her voice, it all pressed down on him. It felt like gravity itself was pulling him toward her. He told himself it was a trick, that she was using some alien ability. But part of him felt something deeper, something human. "Your people," she continued, "do not know your true value, but mine do." She traced her fingers lightly across the table, each motion graceful. "I am here not for peace, not for war, but for you." Her words carried both promise and danger. She was not lying. Marcus could feel it, but he could not understand why. The guards outside grew restless. Some whispered that the alien was trying to control him. Others feared she was planting ideas inside his mind. But Marcus sat frozen, staring into her eyes, feeling a strange heat in his chest. It was fear, but also something else. Something he could not explain. Liara leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "My orders are clear," she said. "I must win your trust, your heart, your body." Her words made Marcus stiffen, his breath quick. He realized this was not a negotiation, not a meeting of nations. This was a game, a dangerous seduction planned by her people. But then something unexpected happened. Her voice trembled, only for a second. Her glowing eyes flickered with something almost human, hesitation, doubt, even guilt. She caught herself quickly. But Marcus had seen it. For one moment, the perfect diplomat looked vulnerable. "Why me?" Marcus asked finally, his voice breaking the silence. "You could have chosen anyone, any leader, any ruler, but you came for me." Liara studied him carefully, her expression unreadable. Then she smiled again. But the smile felt different, less like a mask, more like a secret. "You will understand soon," she said, her hand brushing against his arm. "And when you do, it will already be too late." The microphones outside captured nothing useful. The leaders demanded answers, but the guards only shook their heads. No one could hear what was truly said. No one could feel the strange tension in the room, the invisible bond beginning to form. Only Marcus knew how close she was, how dangerous this game had become, and deep inside, even Liara herself began to feel something she was not supposed to, something her kind had warned her never to feel. The first spark of doubt, the first spark of desire. The seduction had begun, but the line between mission and emotion was already breaking, and neither she nor Marcus could stop what was coming next. The secret mission. The night outside Geneva was quiet, but inside Marcus's mind, storms raged. He had just met the most beautiful being in the universe, yet her words felt like chains. She had admitted her orders. She had admitted her game. But why him? Why would an alien empire risk everything for one ordinary man? Marcus could not sleep. In his room, he stared at the ceiling, his thoughts spinning faster than ever before. Every few minutes, he remembered her voice, her eyes, her strange warmth. He hated it, yet he could not escape it. It was like she had burned her presence into him. Suddenly, the door of his room clicked open. The guards outside should have been there, but now they were silent. Marcus sat up quickly, his heart pounding. And then she entered, moving without sound, as if the shadows obeyed her. "Liara." She closed the door gently behind her, her silver hair glowing faint in the dark. Her expression was different now, not calm, not confident, but urgent. "We do not have much time," she whispered, her voice sharper than before. Marcus frowned, confused. What are you doing here? You should be with the leaders. But she shook her head. Step in closer. They are not who matters, she said firmly. You are. Her eyes glowed brighter, scanning the room as if checking for invisible threats. Then she leaned closer, her tone dropping lower. My people think you are harmless, but I know better. They fear something inside you. Marcus froze. He was only a scientist, a teacher, a man who spent his life in books and labs. What could he possibly have that made an alien empire send their most perfect diplomat across the stars? What do you mean? He asked, his voice breaking slightly. Liara did not answer immediately. Her lips pressed tightly as if she fought with herself. At last she whispered, You hold the key to human strength. A strength even you do not understand. Marcus shook his head, anger rising in his chest. I am not a key. I am just a man, he said, but Liara stepped closer. So close he could feel the strange warmth of her skin. That is what makes you dangerous, she said softly. Her hand brushed against his shoulder, not in passion this time, but in warning. My mission was simple, she admitted. To get close to you, to break your defenses, to control you. She looked away for the first time, her perfect face tightening with conflict. But there is something your leaders do not know, something even my people fear. Before Marcus could respond, the lights in the room flickered, the air grew colder, and a faint hum filled the walls. Lyra's eyes widened in alarm. They are listening, she hissed. We must move. She grabbed his hand, pulling him toward the back door. Marcus resisted. Where are you taking me? But her grip was strong, her movements fast. She opened a hidden panel in the wall, something Marcus had never seen before. Behind it was a narrow passage, dark and metallic. She pushed him inside, whispering, Trust me or die. They moved quickly through the tunnel, the hum growing louder behind them. Marcus's heart raced, his fear mixing with confusion. Every step felt like a fall deeper into something he did not understand. Finally, they reached a small chamber, dimly lit, with alien symbols glowing on the walls. Liara pressed her hand against one, and the room sealed shut. Only then did she speak again. My people are watching me, she admitted. They think I control you, but I do not. Her voice trembled slightly, her perfect mask breaking once more. They want me to seduce you, yes, but there is more. They believe that with you, humanity will awaken a force greater than war. Greater than weapons. Marcus stared at her, his chest heavy. Why tell me this? Why betray your mission? He asked. Lyra's glowing eyes softened, her voice almost human now. Because something is changing, she whispered. And I do not know if it is you or me. Her hand lingered near his. And for the first time, Marcus felt she was not just playing a role. The silence between them was heavy, broken only by the faint hum outside, a hum that grew sharper, closer, like footsteps of machines. Lyra's eyes narrowed, her voice urgent again. They are coming, she said. My own people, they do not trust me anymore. She looked at Marcus, her face both fierce and fragile. Whatever happens next, remember this. You are not as ordinary as you believe. The chamber shook suddenly, as if struck by invisible hands. The walls pulsed with light, alarms echoing through the passage. Liara pulled Marcus close, shielding him with her body. The game of seduction was no longer a game. The mission had turned into something much darker, much more dangerous. The unplanned connection. The chamber finally grew quiet. The shaking stopped, the humming faded, and the walls turned dark again. Liara stood still, her body tense, her glowing eyes watching the door as if expecting enemies. Marcus tried to calm his breathing, but his heart refused to slow down. He had been dragged into something far greater than science, far greater than politics. At last Liara turned to him, her face caught between strength and fear. They will not stop, she whispered. My people do not forgive failure. Her words hung in the air, heavy and sharp. Marcus wanted to demand answers, but his voice broke into something softer. You saved me back there, why? Liara hesitated, her lips parting but no words coming out. Finally, she stepped closer, lowering her voice. "I do not know," she admitted, and for the first time her perfect beauty cracked. There was confusion in her eyes, maybe even pain. She was not the untouchable diplomat anymore. She was something else. Something human-like. Marcus studied her, wondering if this was just another trick. But deep inside, he felt something had shifted. She had protected him, not because of orders, but because of choice. That small act had changed everything. And Marcus realized he was no longer just afraid of her, he was drawn to her. The hours that followed blurred into whispers and silence. They stayed hidden in the alien chamber, waiting for the danger outside to pass. Marcus asked about her world, her people, their mission. She answered little, but when she spoke, her words carried weight. "I was made for this," she said quietly. "Made to be perfect, made to be irresistible, made to break men like you." But her voice cracked on the last word. Marcus looked at her closely, seeing what no one else had seen. Behind the flawless face, behind the glowing eyes, there was exhaustion, loneliness, and something even deeper longing. She was a weapon, yes, but she was also trapped in her own role. And Marcus saw that pain, even if she tried to hide it. One night turned into two, and still they hid, outside. The world searched for them. Leaders demanded answers. Armies prepared for conflict. But in the silence of the hidden chamber, two unlikely beings began to connect. It was not planned. It was not logical. It should not have happened. Yet it did. Liara sat close to him, her voice soft. "My people do not feel the way yours do," she said. "We do not form bonds. We do not choose." She looked down at her hands, as if ashamed. "But when I look at you, something inside me changes. Something I was never taught to control." Marcus's chest tightened, his own feelings clashing between fear and desire. He told himself it was wrong, that she was using him, that this was all part of the game. But his heart betrayed him. His body betrayed him. His thoughts betrayed him. The more time they shared, the harder it became to deny the truth. She was not just the alien diplomat anymore. She was Liara, and he was not just the target anymore. He was Marcus, the man who could no longer walk away. When they finally touched, it was not part of any mission. It was not strategy, not seduction, not a trick. It was raw. It was confusing. It was human, and for Liara, it was the first time in her life that she had chosen anything for herself. For Marcus, it was the first time he realized he could never return to the life he had before. Days later, Liara sat quietly, her hands resting against her stomach, her glowing eyes wide with shock, her lips trembling. Marcus noticed her silence and asked what was wrong. She looked at him with fear, a kind of fear he had never seen on her perfect face before. "Something has happened," she whispered. "Something that was never supposed to happen." Marcus felt his throat tighten. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice low. Liara pressed her hand harder against her stomach, her glow flickering faintly. Her voice shook as she spoke. "I carry life," she whispered. "Your life and mine together." The words struck Marcus like a thunderclap. It was impossible. It was unthinkable. It should not exist. A child, half human, half alien, growing inside her. Neither of their worlds had planned this. Neither of their worlds had even imagined it. It was not a mission anymore. Not a game, not a trick. It was a future. A future that could destroy them both. A future that could change everything. And as Liara sat there, trembling with something that looked like fear and hope mixed together, Marcus realized the truth: pregnancy had never been part of the plan. And now, both humanity and the alien empire would do anything to stop it. The dangerous secret. The moment Liara whispered the truth, the air itself felt heavier. Marcus stared at her, unable to breathe, unable to think. Her perfect face was pale now, her glowing eyes filled with fear. For the first time since her arrival, she looked breakable. And Marcus understood, the strongest weapon in the galaxy was not ships, not armies, but the life growing inside her. They tried to keep it hidden, but secrets like this cannot stay buried for long. Liara's people had been watching her every move, every word, every touch. And when her body began to change, they noticed. Whispers spread across the alien empire, whispers of betrayal, whispers of something impossible. Back on Earth, the human leaders grew restless too. They knew Liara had vanished with Marcus. They feared the worst, that she was corrupting him, brainwashing him, turning him into a weapon. But when one hidden recording captured Lyra's trembling voice, when it revealed the impossible truth of her pregnancy, the leaders froze in shock. "This is a threat," one shouted. "This is not a child. This is a weapon," another warned. Some wanted to protect Marcus and Lyara, believing this was a chance for peace. Others demanded the pregnancy be ended, destroyed, erased before it could grow. And behind every argument, the same fear lingered. What if the hybrid was stronger than both of their species combined? Liara sat in the hidden chamber, her hands never leaving her stomach. Marcus stayed close, watching her with worry and anger mixed together. "They will come for us," she whispered, her voice trembling. "My people will see me as a traitor, and your people will see me as a danger." Her eyes glowed faintly, softer now, filled with something Marcus never thought he would see in her love. Marcus clenched his fists. "We will fight them," he said, though his voice shook. He had no weapons, no army, no plan, but he knew one thing. He could not let anyone take her or the child, not aliens, not humans, not anyone. But the world was already turning against them. News spread faster than fire, an alien diplomat carrying a human child. Some called it hope, a bridge between two species, but most called it a curse, a danger, a sin against nature. Crowds filled the streets with signs and torches, demanding answers, demanding blood. Meanwhile, in the alien empire, the High Council gathered. Their cold voices echoed in the great chamber. "She was created for control, not for love," one hissed. "She was designed to seduce, not to betray," another said. And with every word, the decision grew clearer. Liara had broken the purpose she was made for, and for that, she must be punished. A fleet was prepared, not just to bring her back, but to erase the evidence of her failure, erase the hybrid child before it could ever be born, erase Marcus before humanity could learn what he truly carried. They saw it not as murder, but as cleansing. Back on Earth, Marcus began to notice strange movements. The guards outside their chamber were replaced more often. He caught shadows moving where they should not be. He heard whispers in the hallways, words like containment and termination. The danger was no longer distant, it was surrounding them. Inch by inch, Liara pressed her hand against his, her glow trembling faintly. "They will not let this child live," she said quietly. Her voice broke as she whispered the next words. "They will kill us both if we stay here." Marcus felt the weight of her fear and his own responsibility crushing him. For the first time, he realized something painful. It was not just aliens who wanted the child gone. It was his own people too, the same leaders he had trusted, the same scientists he had worked beside. They all feared what they could not control. In that moment, Marcus made a choice. He looked at Liara, then at the walls closing in around them. "We run," he said firmly, his voice sharper than ever before. Her glowing eyes widened, surprised, but then softened with trust. She nodded slowly, her hand never leaving her stomach. The chamber lights flickered. Alarms echoed faintly in the distance. The sound of heavy boots grew louder outside the door. Marcus grabbed Lyra's hand, his heart pounding. The world was no longer debating, no longer whispering. It was moving against them. And they had only one chance left: escape. The hybrid child. The escape was brutal. Marcus and Liara ran through secret passages, chased by soldiers from both sides. Every hallway echoed with shouts, alarms, and gunfire. The world outside was already burning with protests and fear. And above the earth, alien ships began to move into battle formation. Lyra's strength was failing, her perfect face was pale, her glowing skin dimmer than before. The pregnancy was changing her faster than either of them expected. Her steps slowed, her breath short, her body trembling, but she refused to stop. One hand always pressed tightly against her stomach. Marcus supported her, his arms holding her steady. Every time he looked at her, his heart grew heavier. This was no longer about science, no longer about survival of nations. This was about protecting her, protecting the child, even if the whole universe turned against them. They reached an abandoned safe house at the edge of the city. Inside it was dark, cold, and empty. Liara collapsed onto a chair, her glow faint, her lips trembling. Marcus knelt beside her, fear sharp in his chest. "Tell me what is happening," he whispered. Lyra's eyes flickered, glowing brighter for just a second. "The child is different," she said, her voice shaking. "It grows too fast, it feels too much. It is not only flesh, it is energy." Marcus frowned, struggling to understand. But then the room itself answered. The air trembled. The lights flickered on and off without anyone touching them. The glass on the table cracked slowly, lines crawling across it like spiderwebs. And in the silence, a faint hum filled the air. Not from machines, but from inside her. Inside the child, Marcus froze, his breath caught in his throat. Lyra's hands pressed harder against her stomach, her face twisting with fear. "Do you feel it?" she whispered, her voice almost breaking. Marcus nodded, though he wished he could deny it. The child was not even born, yet it was already changing the world around them. Far away, in hidden bunkers, human scientists recorded strange signals. Machines picked up waves of unknown energy spreading from one location. Panic spread through the lab. Some said it was alien sabotage. Others said it was the end of physics itself. But none dared to speak the truth aloud. The energy was coming from the unborn child, and it was growing stronger every hour, in orbit. The alien fleet received the same readings. Their commanders stared in silence, their perfect faces twisted in horror. "This cannot exist," one said coldly. "It is not child. It is weapon," another replied. And with that, the order was given: strike Earth, retrieve the hybrid, erase all evidence. Back in the safe house, Liara trembled, her eyes locked on Marcus. "I was sent to seduce you," she whispered, "but this was never planned." Her voice cracked as tears filled her glowing eyes. "My people will destroy me for this, and your people will destroy you." She leaned closer, her voice breaking. "But Marcus, do you not see? The child is not only ours, it belongs to your entire species." Marcus sat in silence, his fists clenched, his mind racing. He had no army, no power, no control over the chaos outside. But when he looked at Liara, and when he felt the strange hum in the air, he knew one thing. The child was not just a threat, it was a beginning. Suddenly, the door burst open, soldiers storming inside, their rifles raised, their voices sharp, shouting commands Marcus barely heard. On the ground, they yelled, "Hands where we can see them." Lyra's glow flared suddenly, her body shaking. The air bent around her like heat waves. Marcus tried to shield her, shouting at the soldiers to stop. But before anyone could move, the world shifted. The guns twisted in the soldiers' hands. Bending like soft clay, the walls shook violently, dust falling from the ceiling, and then every soldier was thrown backward by an invisible force, crashing against the walls. Silence followed, heavy and terrifying. Marcus stared wide-eyed, his chest heaving. Liara sat trembling, her hands still on her stomach, her glow brighter now. Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "It is not me. It is the child." The soldiers groaned on the ground, unconscious but alive. The room still hummed faintly, as if reality itself had been touched. Marcus slowly reached for Liara, his voice shaking. What have we created?" She looked at him with fear and love mixed together, and answered in a whisper that chilled his blood. "Something the universe has never seen before. Humanity's hidden power." The world was falling apart. Alien ships filled the skies, their weapons glowing, ready to strike. Earth's armies moved into position, missiles locked, fingers on triggers. But in every command center, one message repeated again and again: find Marcus Halle, find the alien diplomat, find the child inside the safe house. Marcus held Liara close. The room still trembled from the strange force that had thrown the soldiers aside. The unconscious men lay on the floor, their weapons broken like toys, and in the middle of it all, Leora's body glowed brighter, her voice soft, her face pale, her hands never leaving her stomach. "It is coming," she whispered. The child is no longer waiting. Marcus felt the air around him grow heavy, like the weight of a storm pressing down. The lights flickered again. The glass cracked. The sound of machines outside faltered and died. And then he heard it, a voice, not with his ears, but inside his mind, soft, clear, and terrifyingly calm. "Father," it said. "Mother." Marcus froze, his heart pounding. His breath caught in his throat. Liara gasped, her glowing eyes wide with tears. The child had spoken before it was even born. Not as a cry, not as a sound, but as thought itself. Marcus gripped Leora's hand, staring at her in shock. But she only whispered one word, her voice shaking. "Hybrid." The child's voice grew stronger, filling the room like an echo of the universe itself. "They will kill me if I am weak," it said. "They will fear me if I am strong." Its words carried no anger, no confusion, only truth. "But I will not be their weapon. I will not be their slave." Marcus shivered as the walls of the room began to bend, reality itself trembling under invisible hands. Outside, the alien fleet charged their weapons. A massive beam of light gathered, aimed directly at Earth. On the ground, human generals prepared to launch nuclear fire in return. Two civilizations seconds away from destroying each other. But then the skies themselves changed. The clouds twisted, lightning tore across the heavens. Every ship, alien and human alike, shut down in the same instant. Engines died, weapons turned cold, communication systems went silent. The world's most powerful machines had become useless metal in the sky. And every soldier, every general, every leader froze in fear. Inside the safe house, Marcus felt the truth. It was not the aliens, not the humans, it was the child. Its power stretched across the sky, across the cities, across the ships. It had stopped two worlds from destroying each other in one breath. Liara trembled, her tears glowing as they slid down her cheeks. "It should not be possible," she whispered. "But it is." Marcus held her tightly, staring into her glowing eyes for the first time. He realized what the aliens had feared. Not his science, not his mind, not even his love, but humanity's hidden gift, the ability to create something beyond limits. The child's voice filled them again, calm and final. "I do not choose your war," it said. "I do not choose your fear." Its presence felt older than time, wiser than anything human or alien. "I choose my own path," it whispered. And then the world shifted once more. The alien fleets vanished from orbit in a flash of light. Not destroyed, not broken, but gone as if moved far away. Earth's weapons shut down. Every missile frozen. Every system locked. Silence spread across the planet. A silence heavy with awe and terror. And in the middle of it all, Marcus and Liara held each other, knowing nothing would ever be the same. Lyra's glowing eyes softened as she looked at Marcus. "Our child is not just ours," she said quietly. "It belongs to something greater." Marcus swallowed hard, his hands trembling as he touched her face. "What happens now?" he asked. Lyra's lips trembled, her glow flickering faintly, and before she could answer, the child's voice returned one last time. "This is only the beginning," it said. The lights in the safe house shattered. The walls shook, the ground split open, and then silence. A silence that carried the weight of a new future. A silence that promised the universe itself would never be the same again.